Yeah, so just to carry on from what we were saying before, I pulled a hair out of my, like, not even my chin, like my neck, that I think was about this long. So what's that to scale? That's a lip balm pot. Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
It was very satisfying.
Was it thick?
Yeah, like ish, but yeah, it like came out of my chin. It was like a full, but yeah, it was. I love stuff like that though.
Yeah, I think everyone secretly does. I've got like
Oh,
the
it's
same.
so satisfying.
I've literally got the same very, very thick single black hair that grow. I mean, I have a moustache in general, but this one is special. It grows out of this side, and every time it comes back, I just try to get rid of it, but I don't understand why it's just this one bit of hair. Is that like my one bit of testosterone just kind of
Do you
coming
pluck it out? Because I don't think. Oh, do you? Is it painful out of your lip?
No, it's quite satisfying.
Oh, okay. Because I love, like, as soon as, if I'm like, when I used to, this is actually a benefit from working at home. If I was ever like at work in the office and I'd be like, oh, and I felt a chin hair and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to pluck it out. And you can't do it when you're at work. So if now working from home, I'm like, oh, let me just finish this call and I'm going to pluck that sucker out.
Go to town on this man.
That's not the first time I've had that thought. Like, while I've been like at like 10:30 on a Wednesday morning, when I've been like looking in my bathroom mirror, plucking out a chin hair, I'm like, couldn't do this pre-COVID. I won't be able to do this.
Every fucking cloud.
Exactly.
Whereas
exactly.
I still can't do that. I've got to go in. I can't be.
Oh, you can't. Yeah.
I still remember when I was working at the last place, and I accidentally the camera flicked on because we were all at the stage where no one was putting their cameras on anymore, and I accidentally left mine to flick on, and I'd had a day where I had a bit of a breakout, so I literally had Sudocreme like all over my face, and it just flashed on, and I'm like, people are like, did I see that? I think I saw that.
Have you seen that thing about just made me think of it as talking about like video calls and stuff, etc. This actor, I don't know the name, he's quite like, I don't think he's particularly like well known, although he is verified on Instagram, which is where I saw this video.
Oh, I think I saw this morning.
Yeah, so he to be honest, when I saw it, I thought of my view when we do these calls, because so he's about to do an audition for a director, and then and basically the director starts slagging off his apartment, and he's not muted, and he goes, oh, you can see this guy's shitty apartment, like his TV's
really
in
small.
shot, and I literally was just thinking that's all I can see.
That's my kitchen, that's all of it.
Yeah,
you can see my TV.
And he goes like, yeah, I mean, but no, just he's like, yeah, you can see a shitty apartment, it's like TV, it's quite a big TV, I don't know, anyway, it's just like slagging it off. And then the guy goes, oh, you're not on mute, da, da, da. And it's and everyone's like, I follow these Instagram pages, I think I've just mentioned it before, it's called Dumois, where it's like it's people messaging in and like and I said, because I said about Chris Noth being like the mean to kids, people who are mean to kids,
yeah,
hashtag or whatever, and yeah, so loads of people are trying to guess who the director is. So celebrities have been like, so you know Emmy Rossum, she's in Phantom of the Opera, and she plays Fiona in the US version of Shameless.
Okay.
She commented on it saying, I recognise this voice, think I've been asked to audition for this director before, didn't want me to read any lines, wanted me to come in a bikini and do a twirl so he could see if that I wasn't fat.
Oh, so he's just
and she said she declined. Yeah, he sounds dreadful.
I thought even though the comment was like rubbish and he thought he was on mute and I thought it was a bit of a shitty comment, I kind of did think like, well, like I can imagine our dad saying something. Like I can think of it as just being, if you're older, you just literally, if you're older and you've had money for a bit, maybe you just literally don't understand that.
Have any sense of...
If you're in your 20s now, you live in holes. Like they're quite nice holes, but they're holes.
He sounds like a nasty man. I have seen another thing this morning where people are saying, oh, is it a PR stunt for this guy? Because so many people are talking about it.
Yeah. No, I did see it pop up this morning. But I thought his place looked quite nice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It wasn't that bad. And he was like, oh, I can see his shitty apartment. I'm like... But anyway, wonder who this director is. I wonder if it'll be...
It'll be exciting if it comes out.
So, on that note, should we proceed with today's topic? So, Dossie initially suggested I watch The Crown, which is, I think series 4 has come out this week and everyone's talking about it. It's the Diana series. It's been much anticipated. I've never watched The Crown before. I think I watched one episode a few years ago of series the first episode. Liked it, but then just never proceeded with it. So to cut a long story short, I didn't watch it. So instead,
oh, get you excited and then just snap it away. Yeah.
So instead, we're going to talk about Line of Duty.
Yeah, which I have. I watched because you recommended it ages ago, and I've rewatched it all while in lockdown because I think it's like.
Did you rewatch it? Did you watch it because of me? I feel like you recommended it to me.
We do this all the time, but yeah, I swear, because when I started watching it, it was series. I watched series 2 first, the Lindsay Denton one, and then after that, I got into it and watched it all from the beginning.
Dossie, I don't think I recommended it to you then, because I was about to say
same
the first series I watched. I was at Mum and Dad's because Mum and Dad are fans of it, and they were watching. I think it was series 3, the one with, do you know, Danny.
Oh, Daniel May something. Yeah.
The character's called Danny, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, this is why I should have just watched The Crown. It would have been fresh. Anyway, so I watched that first episode and thought, oh, this is great. I really like this. And then went came back to Manchester and didn't watch it again. So I started watching it in series 5, like the most recent one, and I was like, so I didn't really fully understand everything because there are quite a few like callbacks to other series. Then I remember, because it was while I was writing my dissertation, and I remember like an afternoon in the library being like, I'm just gonna have a quick break. I'm just gonna watch an episode of Line, and like just sat and watched like a lot of series 1 of Line of Duty while I was supposed to be writing a dissertation. But yes, so I think you might have prompted me to watch it again, or like So yeah,
I wonder if it was from Mum and Dad then, but yeah, it's I did a full rewatch again.
Oh yeah.
And it, like from start to finish, so I could literally follow the whole thing.
Oh, that's true. So you can do, because if you went in at series 2 as well, I suppose. But no, I think I remember starting again. Well, when I did watch it properly from series 1 onwards, it was just I was like, how did I not go in? How was I not watching this when it first came out? And then being like gutted when it was over, thinking I wish I could delete it from my memory so I could watch it again, because it was so gripping.
Same. Like when I found out there was a series I hadn't seen from before, or like the series 1, I was very jazzed. And then I
think series 1 is class as well. Like, is it? I've forgotten. Where's my phone? These are the bits.
Yeah, this is going to be really quite, because I'm also absolutely exhausted today. I've been waking up at like 3 a.m. every day this week, so I'm going to be pretty shocking on the names today. But we'll struggle through it.
Oh right, right. Let's get the Wikipedia page up. I was midway through watching Mojo Top 10 Line of Duty moments. Just to jog my memory.
Are you talking about Tony, the guy?
Yes! Played by.
Oh, can we do that? I'm not going to remember.
I want to give it, because he's a really good actor. Lenny James, the actor's called Lenny James.
And because in the first series he's the guy who's subject to investigation. So I think isn't the opening of the first scene is that bit where it's Stephen Arnott pre BC BC 12? Before AC-12, they go into the wrong.
He's part of the CTU. I was about to ask you what CTU stood for, but you were in there. Counter-terrorist unit.
That's an easy one. Later on, it's going to get harder. Yeah. But they go into the wrong flat because the door number's upside down and fucking like.
I mean, no. And to be fair, I've never been in that situation, so it must be heated. But it does seem quite a schoolboy error, if you will.
It was very Simpsons level of error, like police.
I don't know if it's just in my memory, but I swear you see the number go like.
Like creaking and rolling. But so they go in and they shoot the wrong guy because he's holding like a baby, and then they were like, it's a bomb, but it's a baby. So they get in a lot of trouble, and then he refuses to go along with the cover up with all his all his pig mates. And that's how our lovely Ted Hastings picks him up and recruits him for AC-12, because he's like, this guy's a bit of a knock. He's got integrity. Let's hire him.
He's perfect for AC-12.
He's perfect.
And then, because I remember being quite thrown, because obviously having watched series 5 and knew exactly where Vicky McClure, what is her character's name?
Kate.
This is
Kate.
awesome. Kate, of course. So knowing that Kate was part of AC-12. So in the first series, when she's in, which unit is she? Because she's working somewhere in the first series. Obviously, it's an AC-12, and I was like, oh, this is it's like another origin story. Like Steve Arnott started in CTU, but then that reveal when she's like, no, I'm undercover in this like in this
she's
division,
always
this team.
undercover. She's always
she's so good at it.
You would have thought though that like by now word would have spread and you'd be like, oh god. Like,
I know, you do wonder, because they don't seem to leave the like Midlands, do they? Like, it's not like she's going
wherever they are, yeah. So like they feel like if she pops up, surely you'd be like, oh well, AC-12's on my fucking back. I mean, she's obviously good, like she's meant to be good at it, but with Tony, she's like, because they're trying to find out that Tony, like they investigate Tony doing laddering, which is like adding extra crime stats to one case to make him look better. And so Kate's kind of in it, trying to get in on the action, and she's like almost quite like flirty with him to try and get a bit more inside. But then this is when it all kicks off, is when, because he's having an affair with that real estate agent who's involved in, I think, some like money laundering or crap like that, with basically the main it's kind of like there's just like loads of baddies all in the same gang, it feels like.
Yeah.
But like so he's having an affair with her, she turns up dead somewhere, and then they have her body with, obviously, for some reason it's got Tony's prints and all of, like, they've managed to do it so they can be like, you've got to do what we fucking say, because otherwise this body will be uncovered and you're going to be screwed. So he's kind of then under their thumb, and then like every series, I guess he gets,
because I'm sure there's a bit where he's like, because you know that kid, the one on the bike with all the like burner phones and stuff.
Yeah.
He's
fucking Harry Brown or whatever.
I just there's a scene where he's like cycling around Tony, and he's like, and it just, for me, that was a real moment of like, yeah, Tony has lost control, hasn't he?
Like yeah,
he's screwed.
Scared of a little kid.
Yeah, I do remember as well, a bit from that series that like stands out to me, just like anything torture around hands, particularly like nails and stuff, but like just anything with that.
Is it series 1 that they do it to Steve?
Well, they like the guy, the little kid with the burner phone.
Oh, and he can't do it because he's too weak.
Yeah. What are they called? It's like a
pliers.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
It's gnarly. It's like a big, like trying to nut crack his fingers.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and he's and some brilliant acting from what's his face? Who ever plays Steve Arnott? I forgot, Dottie. This is awful.
I do not know. No, we've just gone with Steve.
We're letting down our loyal fans. No, so series 1, such a bang. I think series 1. I actually will say this as we go all the way through, but series 1 I think is one of the best series. I really do. But then they're all so good.
I mean, I because there's an argument for because I know a lot of people who are like fans, and they think that as the later it's gone on, because it's got a bit more of a big, like there's lots more to it, and everyone's so excited about the final reveal of everything, people think it's got a bit like sillier as it's gone on, and I do kind of agree with that. Like the first one, it was a bit more subtle, and then when Lindsay Denton got introduced, and there was a lot more weird where you couldn't really figure out for so long, and then but as it's got further along, I think like the last season I really enjoyed, and I love Stephen Graham, and I think it was and there were so many bits that made me like like when they just randomly kill him off.
Oh, that was on my just before. That was the top. That's number 6 on the moments that I was watching.
But the bit at the end of season 5 where I think it's like basically the person who's like it's sat at the end, and they're almost just asking, like she's just sat there telling them her whole evil master plan, like, oh well, I guess I've been found out, and it just felt really like, why would you?
The woman who was no, it does, and also as well, I thought it was a bit contrived. Spoiler alerts, by the way.
Oh yeah, like way back. Yeah.
Is it name?
D.I.
Dot.
Cotton.
Is he called Dot because of cotton?
Yeah.
That is only just occurred to me. Because of Dot Cotton, that's literally why he's called Dot.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. What did you think?
Sorry, this is like, I don't know. It just hasn't occurred to me. Sorry, this is gonna be so all over the place, but it's just because things are like coming to me because I've not watched it in like ages. Neil Morrissey's in it.
Oh yeah, he's
with a limp.
But a fake limp.
A fake limp, of course.
Because he's like that's when when it gets to the point with I think high points with the caddy, when you don't know who the caddy is and when it's revealed.
I think that's a good one. In terms of, sorry, I cut you off. I'm doing that a lot. Go on. I was just gonna say, because I think where the like a lot of Line of Duty, even though I know, like I'd say it gets like silly and it's as it's progressed. I think, like I say, I think series 5 is probably like my least favourite series, even though it was good, and Stephen Graham's obviously like he's just so watchable in anything.
Next
like I watched
level.
The Irishman the other day, and he was so good in that.
He's so good in that.
And just seeing him, there was something really like weird seeing him like acting opposite, because he does that scene with Al Pacino in The Irishman where like they're both in prison and talking about. He
reminds me. He's got a bit of a Tony Soprano thing about him in it.
He totally fit in to that film. Yeah, sorry, digressed a bit there. So even though series 5 won the week series, etc., Line of Duty always delivers on a series finale, always. And I think the series finale of series 3, I've said series a lot then in the past 10 seconds.
Okay.
Was brilliant. The foot chase, Kate chasing D.I. Cotton.
Yeah, it's when he when he's trying to get out of it, and you can see. I love that moment when they're in their like their fucking final sort of AC12 interview, and you see them kind of twig, and then if they get their phone out, you're like, they're calling them in, they're asking for an escape, they're gonna get out. Like,
oh no, it's just. I think it's just there's something so satisfying about, because all of these people as well, like the people who are involved are in like positions where they can be really twist things and have a lot of power, and like it's just very exciting.
So it's figuring out. Yeah, I guess it's because you don't know. Because also that's something that I think in the latest series, I think it was the latest one, what's really pissed me off, you know that whole thing of who is H? H is a person. And now there's that thing of like, oh, Dot did that 4 times.
Yeah, I was about to say that was that.
4 H's, and we found 3 of them, and we don't know who the last one is. It might be Hastings.
It was kind of like convoluted, wasn't it? That you almost wonder if that was this like Jed Mercurio, the writer.
Yeah.
Is that his name? Anyway.
Yeah, that's his name.
And I get that when you're writing something, you don't have to have like it all mapped out, but it was a bit like, how can we like figure it? When this man was dying, he did something with his hands that we can now apply loads of meaning to.
Yeah.
So who are the 3 H's we've got so far? It's
Hilton, apparently.
Oh, there's the woman, isn't there? This is why I'm like, I suck at this, because I can't remember anyone's name.
Do their names even all begin with H?
Oh no, not H, because Cotton's one.
Yeah.
And then Derek Hilton. Jill! That's who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because there's that weird moment, that's in series 5, isn't it, where she like goes into the bathroom and then doesn't someone get stabbed in the hand?
Yeah. It does get a bit because I don't think she's very believable. I guess she is like manipulative, and she's doing the PR, isn't she? So she's meant to be. And also, if it's more than one person who is it? I don't know. It's meant to be more stuff in place, and they obviously have these 4 main people, but then there's also an element of they have a lot of other people who are like almost held to blackmail to do what they need doing, because don't they have, I swear there's a suggestion that just like if they want to like drop a body and link you to that body, they could just do it. Like that woman, Jackie Lafferty from season 1, isn't she still in the fucking freezer in that flat, just ready to be
used
dropped? So it's but I mean it has got sillier because it's got bigger, but then I'm still so pumped for when the next one comes out.
Me too. I believe is filming not underway for that now?
Yeah, I think they're saying it's going to be maybe March 2021.
Exciting.
It's going to be Kelly MacDonald because that's another thing as well. The fact they have like every season now, it's like a very good main.
Right, yeah,
like,
let's
weird...
talk about Tandy Newton. Like, unbelievable. It's one of the, I think, like, very much stand out as a sort of a guest star, like, as that sort of big name, because it is like, say, they get big names in, don't they, now? Like, I feel like that's their thing of having...
Definitely now, yeah. I guess at the beginning it was. No, they've always had quite good names, actually, haven't they?
So many moments in that series with her as well. Like, I think the big one being the hospital reveal.
Oh.
Yeah, that was also do you know what? Excuse me, sorry. So I was watching my Mojo top 10 list. I only got to 6 and then we had to start. That hand moment was like number 9. I'm like, I'm sorry, that was such a, that should be so higher up in the list. That was so good.
That really got me.
Because when it's just like, because like you the build up to that moment as well. How does it start again? How does she get? Is it when?
So you don't see her like how she's got it, but we know it's because she's gone. The pathologist guy. I think she's gone to confront him at his flat because he's kind of getting in the way of her investigation when she wants to go for this guy Michael Farmer or whatever, and he's kind of getting in the way, saying you haven't really been thorough enough. And I think she's desperate to get this, like, it's because she wants to solve the case to progress in her career, so there is an element of like, come on, you should probably do, if someone's saying that the evidence isn't there, it's not there. So then she goes around to his flat. I think they get into an altercation where she falls, cracks her head open, or just cracks her head on the like a countertop, and it gets knocked out. He's assumed she's dead, so that's another good moment as well. She wakes up to like his chainsaw, like here, like right in her face.
Yes, that's really good.
We're meant to assume, because after that you don't really see anything after that. You just see that she's got out, but she has this very ganky. I mean, it starts off as just like a really bad,
presumably from the chainsaw thing that he's using. Yeah. And then
she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go to the hospital because she obviously doesn't want it to be. She's thinking, I can just act as if none of this has happened.
Well, if she goes to the hospital, obviously it's linked to the crime, because she obviously goes through all that, the rigmarole, doesn't she, of swapping the blood, crosses it out, like, because the name's different, and I'm thinking, I remember thinking, watch it, so I'm like, you need to do the label again. They are going to be like, why is it crossed out? Because doesn't she hear the number wrong or something?
Yeah,
it's 13 and they say 30 or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, so as that progresses with her, and just this bit where her husband like walks into that room, he goes, that thing on your arm's starting to smell. And it's like so grim.
It's so horrible. And you can see her, she's getting really weak. Like, she's getting worse, and like she's getting more and more, because eventually it's that she passes out from it. Obviously she's got like a big infection or something, and so then when she wakes up, that's when she just has nothing there. She has no hand. And I think her husband's there going like, now, not to alarm you, calm down, not to alarm you, like, it's okay. It's like,
I wonder if there's like I think he goes like, we didn't have a choice. I'm like, tell her like a bit more straightforward, like, or give us some, like, we didn't have a choice. And then the next thing is her looking around, she's like, oh, I don't have a hand anymore. That's the progression. But yeah, no, it's
I mean, I wouldn't know how to tell someone they didn't have a hand anymore. No,
no, did you ever really use it much anyway? Like, that reveal was excellent, wasn't it?
I can't believe that was so low down on the countdown.
I know.
I mean, I guess there's other big, I mean, the thing of, I do absolutely love it when it kicks off and windows start getting smashed and there's like people in balaclavas, like, and motorbikes and them getting people out. I love that when it's all like, you would have thought that they'd sort of earn more towards less sort of mainly glass built buildings. Because they seem
clearly we keep having to get these fixed, like,
oh my god, like every Monday morning you think, oh, for God's sake,
so the cleaner coming in like sweeping up more broken glass. Like, why?
For goodness sake, that should be higher up. Although the bit where Stephen Graham just gets killed off, like, before the end,
that was because it's like, say, it's us saying I feel like Line of Duty's worst is better than a lot of people's best. So, but even in that series, because there was we were unsure, weren't we? There was a reveal of, oh, he's an undercover officer, but then you're thinking, oh, is he undercover? But he's been so like pulled into this operation that he's now actually part of it.
Yeah.
And then and then that moment is just, you just don't see it coming, do you? Where he gets his throat slit. It's
Yeah. Well, because like you said, you can't. I think for a while, because he's like insistent. Him and Stephen Arnott develop that sort of rapport where he's like, look, he's saying to Steve like, oh, you're like kind of, you can't believe these people who claim they're higher. Like everyone's in on this kind of thing. And there's that really, really like bit when he's talking to him, and I think Ted's on the radio being like, shoot him now, and you're like, why do you want to shoot?
I know, and everyone's like, when we all started doubting Ted as well, like,
yeah, I was like,
I'm just, one of my, like, with Ted Hastings, because actually, so I think they built it up, haven't they, well, because you really, like, love Ted Hastings, like, the way Ted's character, like, is developed or whatever.
Oh, I love Ted.
You really love him. and then when it starts, like, he starts being pulled in on it, and you're sort of like, well, could they do it in a way where you do something, could he? And then because his laptop gets taken, he's like, I was watching porn.
I was on my computer. I was watching pornography.
I really love as well. So isn't he like? He's not. I don't know if he's like necessarily detained, but he can't go anywhere. So they keep. So there's a scene where he's in the staff room in a sleeping bag. It's like, is that where you've kept him?
Yeah,
like,
that's where he's been given almost like regulation sweats or something.
Yeah.
He's like sat there because I feel like I think it's season 5, and I don't know if they do a bit of it in season 4, because like from the beginning I think you think, Ted, you're a stand-up guy. Like, he goes around going like, my officers go to the letter of the law. Like, he's just absolutely stand-up guy.
Of Ted Hastings.
Yeah. But then he says some things later on where he says that he makes a really dated reference when he gets he's gone out for a drink with Steve, and he's kind of says, oh, so do you never do this with Kate? Because she's obviously detective sergeant. She's like,
because she's been promoted by that point, hasn't she?
Yeah, and then Ted says something like, oh no, I couldn't be caught doing that. It'd be like going out on a date with one of Pan's people. And it's like, first of all, when was the last time anyone talked about Pan's people?
And also, what?
Yeah, and also because she's a woman. Like, I don't understand your reference in any kind of saying like it'd be inappropriate to go for a drink
Pan's
with just
people,
her.
the people at the top of the pops dancers.
Yeah, the things that Dad talks about. Like, I just
what
like,
a weird reference. That like went right over my head. Also, why is Kate like?
I don't know, but I'd wonder whether that was meant to set you up, being like, oh, he's got a few outdated that, and that series where they were like, oh, he's a Mason, like he did the Mason handshake and stuff. So I don't know whether you're meant to just be like, oh, he's kind of part of the old school.
Mason talks about Pan's people. He's obviously doesn't.
He doesn't really. Yeah, he's got a lot of dodgy shit coming up. But yeah. Oh, that's another. I found one of my favourite moments, and I don't know why, but I like laughed when it happened, and it's not funny. But you know when there's the guy with the mutton chops in series like 3, I think it is, like the older policeman, and they're like questioning him about the Sandhurst boys' school, like and then a picture comes up with it. I think it's him. It's like Jimmy Savile.
Oh,
and
literally,
oh my god, like
they've not shied away. Interesting that they went for like that as well. In what year was that? Well, it would have been post thing, wouldn't it? It weren't like
maybe
BBC
like
show or say not shying. Anyway, just no. That was grim. I forgot about that bit in that series 3. Did you say?
Yeah,
because Danny went to the school. Yes, because he went to that school, didn't he?
And that's why he kills the guy in the first, because he was abused by him and he freaks. Yeah, and there's that list, isn't there, of all the people who are involved, and this policeman's was involved in covering it up, I think. And I don't know why. I don't know how Jimmy Savile's linked to it. I can't remember, but it's just they popped that picture up in the interview, and his face is like, oh crap. It's just that was quite a shocking bit, I thought, but that was quite good because it felt quite like it did feel quite relevant, and it was.
Did Cotton go to that school as well, or have I just done a weird jump there?
I don't think so. I think Cotton was one of, from what they say, Cotton was kind of groomed from an early age to enter the police force.
Because
he's
the caddie, isn't he? Because he was like he was
for
like an orphan, wasn't he? Like he didn't have yes, and that's why they bring. Because that takes me right back as well to, is it the first series with the person behind it in the first? Oh, what is his name?
Oh, Tommy. Oh, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy Hunter's the main bad. Like he's in the first series. He's the one who's sort of running the show.
Yes,
and he's the we find out that he's the witness, or like very special person that they're having to transport in series 2. When it goes wrong.
When it goes wrong, and that's where
someone wants him dead, which I'm guessing is the overall undercover bad people. They want him dead because he's going to talk shit. So he's but yeah, because also they show. I didn't realise. I rewatched series 1. And they show Tommy speaking to Dot, to the caddie, and like as if to be like, oh, you'll take care of this, won't you? So I feel like you're set up knowing that Dot's like bad egg from quite early on.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I quite like
Dot. There's something weirdly. He's quite charismatic. I don't know.
He wears a good suit.
Yeah. He looks a very tall man, doesn't he?
I do. I really like that actor. I think he's quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about him, like, charismatic.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Do you know what? I'm looking through this now, and the cast list from this is it's good. I'm like looking at you know the one I think we've said we fancy him. He's like his name's Google Mark Bonner, and you'll know who I mean. I think he might be
I love Mark Bonner. Yeah, I don't know why it's like my weird crush, but I think because he plays Dryden, doesn't he? The guy who Lindsay Denton has a little bit of an affair with. And
yes,
he's kind of trying to just. I think he uses her, like bends her to his will a bit for this to make the operation go wrong, and then he gets done for doing stuff with an underage girl, because I think he's set up by them.
I sort of wish I hadn't said I fancied him now.
Well, he's an actor. He's also in Catastrophe.
He is. What else?
I really like him in Catastrophe.
What else? Sorry, I'm doing this annoying thing because I'm just not. But he is in other stuff because I feel like.
Oh, he was in that quiz thing that was on recently that was about...
yes, he was the head of ITV programming.
And he was really funny because the way he talked, it sounded like sort of W1A. Like, that was good. No, I really like Mark Bonner, I think. And that was a really good storyline. I always think, like, no matter how bad things get, I always tend to... I think back to all the scenes where Lindsay Denton's in prison, and I think, mother of God, at least I'm not in that situation. Like when they shit in her food.
Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
They burn her. She's about to get like beaten up when they have their sort of gym time, and then the police, the prison guards, they take her out somewhat trying to be kind and pretend they're like listening to her, and then they get her to put her hands out and they say, we'll make you a cup of tea, but they just pour hot water over her hands.
Yes. I think I've had a similar thought of like, well, I'm not Lindsay Denton. Like even in the build up before she goes into prison, because she gets herself in quite a mess. I'm like, oh, at least I'm not like a. And when she gets having out, she's living in that bed set. Yeah, I do sort of think as well. Like the worst day I could have at work is like nothing on that. Anything could happen if you worked in AC12.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able. I wonder how, because. There's that horrible thing when she's trying to tell whether there's something wrong with the food, and she's like sniffing it, and she eats it, and then she's throwing up, and then she says there's shit in her food, and I'm like, oh, so you did figure it, you figured it out.
Yeah.
God, I just can't.
No, it's grim. Do you want to have a go at just for some fun? I'm going to do some acronyms.
Oh yeah. I'll try. Okay. So yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let's start easy. AC12.
Anti-corruption 12.
Unit 12, but yeah.
Unit 12.
Yeah.
What's the 12 stand for?
I don't know. It's like how many other I'm guessing so, and I feel like the Unit 12 is specific to put the like internal police force corruption. That's what I'm thinking.
You get other ones in, don't you? Like you get that budget version of Kate interviewing Ted at one stage.
I think so. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. AFO.
Away from. No idea.
It's something to do with So they talk a lot about AFOs in series 3 with Danny and stuff. because of what they're doing, like what they have license to use certain things.
AFO. Armed.
Should I tell you?
Abused.
No.
Go on.
Authorized firearm officer.
Oh.
Sorry, these I think I'll be honest. If I'm doing this, I'm doing that thing where it's like I know the answer, but I've got them in front of me. DI.
Detective Inspector.
Very very good. FI.
Female Inspector.
FBI, female body inspector. Sorry. Forensic investigator. This is on the list, and I don't think it's ever been mentioned. Well, it's probably in there, but I don't think so. IP address is on here.
IP address?
Internet protocol address. I think, but that to me that's not.
That's not a true acronym.
Here we go. Yeah, OCG.
OCG, Organised Crime Group.
Yes, well done.
Yes.
One. Oh, IR. I feel like they mention these a lot.
IR.
Like after the initial. Oh. Wait, no, I haven't. After the initial thing that happened at the beginning of the series, I feel like they'll go in and do an interview for an IR.
Okay. Interrogation room?
No, it's incident report. Sorry, I'm as I say, I don't think I'd know any of these. DIR. This is another one. It's related to the I is interview.
Detective.
No.
Interview. What is it?
Digital interview recording. We suck at this. Well, that went well.
Well, yeah. I don't know any of them.
It is hard. It's weird, is it? Do you find that when you're watching it that you get into the acronyms, or and you sort of feel?
I let them wash over me somewhat.
Yeah, a bit. I sort of.
Yeah, sometimes it's very heavy on acronyms and going according to regulation, something.
I do think there's a lot to be said. Actually, I mean, I'm obviously not a police officer or anything like that, but it does seem quite detailed. I feel like they do their research, don't they? Because when they're doing those interviews and because there's always a big interview moment, isn't there? In a series, I'd say.
Yeah, the best one.
Yeah, the Tandy Newton one was amazing because there's the bit where she turns around and she arrests her lawyer, I think, doesn't she?
Yeah. And I love it when it gets to the point where they get so stressed out that they start shouting, "I'm not Ben!"
Yeah. We got one job, and that's nicking Ben coppers.
When Ted shouts, "I'm not Ben," that's pretty legendary.
Yeah, that is true.
That's pretty good.
No, so they just descend into panic and
yeah, they literally just start.
It's not me.
Yeah, Stephen Arnott because they've obviously got a lot of someone's made it. Well, D.I. Cotton hasn't it? He's made it very yeah, you're going to be the caddy. So he's just looking. Yeah. You could just see he's just looking at it all in front of him, and he's just like, "Oh my god, no!" This is it. And then that moment when Kate, at the last episode, when Kate gets him out of prison and he's like, "Thank you, mate." Yeah. And they have that little hug. But yeah, I love it when they get, stuff. I just love it when they get to the point where they just think, I'm just going to scream, "I'm not Ben."
Not Ben! It's not me! As if at that point, you've made a very compelling case. We're going to let you off. I'm saying I think they do their research. It's very detailed because they do it very accurately. It feels like it's quite a good... It's weird that they still manage to make what potentially could be it's just a conversation. You're not necessarily seeing any action. I know you get the really good bits when Cotton's sends a message and then it's crash everything.
I'm out of here.
Exactly, and then you have the running foot chase and stuff, which is really good. But some of the back and forth, the conversations where people and say where it gets, they are so good and they are such good television and drama.
Yeah,
and I think
because you get the build up, don't you? Because you get the one where it's the Dryden one's quite good because when he first does the interview, he clearly is like, "Well, I'm your superior, so yeah, ask me questions. Of course, I'm gonna cooperate, but you've got nothing on me." And then when he's the next one when they have the picture of Carly and the picture of him in the car with her, and he's just reduced to absolute tears. I did.
It's that's such a good one. That one was is that series? That's very early on, isn't it?
I think that's 2. I think that's
series 2, yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I remember that now.
Because there's that bit where they first walk out the interview when they've done their first one, and they're all like pretty smug, like
Yes. No, you're right.
Me.
I think a lot of people think like AC12 is a bit of a like goody two shoes. Like not even that, but like I think they're not taken.
Really
they hate them, and they're
yeah.
not taken seriously. And then when AC12 like going over, I'm like, yeah.
But they are kind of. You can imagine that you'd be like, oh my god, just let me do my job.
Let me be corrupt, man. Like,
God,
let me live.
Solving crimes, like.
Well, I was so you were saying sort of about how like it's gone. My hair looks so weird. How it's gone from, like it has like ups the ante and like the drama. It's almost like it's like, it's gone a bit like mad, hasn't it? Like how it's ended up like, so because the first like bit of corruption they were investigating that we saw was Tony like adding numbers to his cases, which while like wrong, it's not like, and it gets to the point where it's like people involved in like sex trafficking. Like the
stakes are high.
The stakes, like it goes from, it really does, like as they go farther into the belly of the beast.
It's pretty bad because they tend to just do, when you see the OCG, the main OCG.
Well
when
done
you see
for the one of the acronyms.
Thanks, I always
sorry,
remember that one.
OCG and AC12 are the only ones I know, I think, pretty much.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
But whenever you see them doing stuff, it tends to just be like general crime, all the bad things, because they like if they need to take a lorry full of heroin or guns, they're going to be there. If they're going to steal from a evidence warehouse, they're going to be there. If they're going to just kidnap a load of random girls and traffic them, they'll be there. Like they're just every little bit of crime they can do, they're in on it. And then they have that weird factory place they show in season 5.
Oh yeah.
Which is just their sort of Operation Central for doing all the illegal things. But
which is near, is it that, because they also go to that weird bar as well. I don't know why that like really stuck with me. They always go to this bar.
That's when I thought a little bit like when we were seeing their little shitty club that they hang out in. I was like, this feels a bit silly that we're seeing all of this, because I kind of liked it when we didn't see.
Right.
Like that bit with Stephen Graham with those ridiculously tall women in the club because he's quite a small man.
Yeah.
So he's like that, and it's just like these absolute Amazonians, and he's just like, all right, I'm having a good. And that bit, I was like, this just feels really
feels
silly.
It's almost just like, what are they trying to, because I do, like I say, I really think part of it's the fact it's so good is that you get the very, like, I feel like they've done their research, they actually have tried to like make like, or do so it's not all like proper like constant dramatic like, oh well, like gang, like this kind of like cool like mafia type of thing, do you know what I mean? Like, and then but it was very much like based in an office that's set in the Midlands, like doing those interviews where it's not like fully dramatic, but then having that was a bit too much. Like, are you trying to be a bit too like, oh, let's show? I know exactly what you mean. I think the reason it's so good.
I don't know why I didn't like seeing. I almost prefer it when it's so much more. But then they did have in that one, I think that what made up for it is the conversations they had on that like mystery laptop. Whenever they were talking to H or whoever it was, and that's when you saw like, oh, that was a bit funny though when they said like, oh, do you know who has a laptop? Ted has a laptop.
There was a good bit there because wasn't he like, because they were trying to replicate H's like way of speaking, like because they did all this bot stuff, and then Ted's like, oh, give it to me, and he starts to
you're like, he looks far too comfortable.
He's too confident.
Give it to me. I know how I speak.
He knows how to type. He must be H. Okay, as of 16 hours ago, the Radio Times published an article. Line of Duty's Martin Compston reveals filming has wrapped on superb, in quotes, season 6.
Oh, let's hope so.
So it's been delayed, obviously shooting because of coronavirus. But no, they've finished filming. It's happening. It's coming. I think lots of people will be. That's some good telly to look forward to, actually. And it's not The Crown, but
it's, you know, it's something else. No,
I will watch The Crown though, because on it, I feel like the Diana thing's been very anticipated. Like,
I'd be quite curious for you to just watch the new season.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Like if we literally just discuss the new season, because it feels like a different show.
Oh, really? The way people are talking about it is very like. So I know in the past, like I know loads of people who. Do you know what's like interesting about it as well? A lot of people who I don't think it, like, ever expressed like being, or like just don't, you know, like sort of how some people feel about the royal family and stuff. Like they're not like, I'm pretty indifferent. Like think yeah whatever. But people are gripped by it. I suppose it's just quite a dramatic thing, isn't it? Have you watched all of it?
I think so. I think I fell asleep in the last one, not because it was boring, just because I'm knackered. So I kind of want to watch a bit of it again. But I've watched most of it, and I do think like the Diana thing is hauntingly, like how she acts, her mannerisms, the way the actress, she's absolutely superb. She's like really, really nailed it. And also, even though Prince Charles doesn't necessarily look like he's like them together, like it's really like it's really, really good. I would really, if you can watch that.
Yeah, I think there's just I've always been found like the whole Diana thing, like her as a public figure and like an icon, a cultural icon, I suppose as well. So interesting. Like I to be honest, like I say, I'm not a fan of the royal family. Like I'm not. But that moment is in time when she sort of that whole span of her, like, so marrying Charles at 19, having to becoming like the people, being very, very young, becoming like the people's princess, like globally, like she was an icon globally for people, and then her death. And the way the country responded, I suppose the world as well, but particularly, I got into this thing where I would watch like Netflix as a range of documentaries about Diana and like her death and stuff. And I went through where I just was watching them because it's so interesting just how like the country reacted to it. Yeah, like it was.
I watched the BBC one about the basically about the interview, like the Bashir.
Oh, the Martin Bashir interview. Yeah, that's interesting actually because that was a very like revealing interview, wasn't it? Because I watched a clip of her. I don't know. They might do this in series 4 of The Crown. Actually, there's on their engagement interview, they're talking about so Charles and Diana are being interviewed, obviously. And Prince Charles says something like, "Oh, whatever being in love means." Or something.
They do that in the series because it's really
and Diana
odd.
said it was like devastating, like that she was like, So no, I will because she's such like a fascinating figure.
Yeah,
I think
it's they do it very well. I think because it's a very odd. Yeah, because there's lots of other. It's not completely focused on that, but she does kind of steal the show.
Does it cover then from her being 19? Does it go through like through to her death?
So I don't know. No, it hasn't because like the last season's going to be season 5, and I think people don't know where they're going to take it up until. So
really? Series 5. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if they end it around then because that was such like a. I think that I think it changed lots of people's opinion about the Queen.
Yeah.
Didn't it? From my research, Netflix research.
Yeah, it was an odd moment, I suppose. Yeah. So maybe they'll take it up till then, but then you feel like people are going to like surely like the royals will kick off a bit that's being shown. But I mean, but you got like this is we were talking to someone the other day like. Can you get in trouble for like talking about the program? Like it's not Tudor times. Like you're not going to get beheaded for treason. Yeah, but then people still talk about like the people like don't eat a swan or the Queen. Or
that's true. Oh, Her Majesty. It's the like Mark and Peep Show. It's the Royal Mail. Have you been watching anything else that's like
anything crappy? You mean?
Yeah, like or just anything else that's been.
I've been watching. I might have mentioned this last time. I've been watching The Undoing with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
Oh, I've seen on our shared Now TV, the Now TV. Nick.
Yeah. No, I've been watching on there, and they're doing it. I've seen every episode out so far because it's being released once a week, so there's a lot of control involved. Which is quite tricky because I would have
because we're so used, aren't we, to get because the Crown does that all come out in one go, like that comes out all in one go, doesn't it? Yeah.
That. Whereas this one, it is quite good because it means that you have something to wait for. So it's released on. Annoyingly, it's 2 a.m. on Sunday, so I have to wait till Monday to watch new parts. But basically, it's just a rich. Do you know much about it?
No, not at all.
She's a therapist, I think, but that doesn't really seem that relevant. But basically, they have quite a lot of money. He's a doctor for children with cancer. and they're put across as quite sort of, they live in New York and they're a successful couple and everything. And then there's a younger girl pops up who, like, there's something odd about her, and she seems almost a bit like fascinated by Nicole Kidman's character, and then she turns up dead, and so it's a bit, and the husband's Hugh Grant, Scarpers,
Right.
like, so they think it's going to be him, and it does turn out, like, slight spoilers here, but it does turn out he's had an affair with her, so it's kind of like, oh, she could have, like, that could have been why she's turned up, but you're always second guessing who could have done it, because she doesn't seem, there are some sequences in it that make you think, oh, Nicole Kidman's character, there's something not quite right there with her head, and like there's something a bit off about her in general, because she seems to kind of like, the police have her as a suspect, and she seems very confused as to why, but you think, oh, I think maybe it's because there's something a bit odd about you, they do think you're hiding something, so you don't know, and they're all, and you have no idea, and everyone's saying they're innocent, but you don't know for sure. It's got Donald Sutherland playing Nicole Kidman's father in it, and he does not like Hugh Grant, so he's kind of very much like, what are you?
There's something, when you said about Hugh Grant being in it, I was like, there's just something, I almost was like, I think he's like almost has come to terms with himself, like, and that he'd had his time, like, doing his whatever, but it feels like it's quite a, like, decent role, right?
Oh, he's really good in it. I mean, he is.
Oh, really?
He's like, Daniel Cleaver grew up and became a doctor. Like, he's that character.
He does it well, though, doesn't he?
That sort of, English bumbling, and you can believe that he is always, his next affair is right round the corner. You can believe that.
There's something very enjoyable about Hugh Grant. Like, isn't it strange that, like, it's all, like, I mean,
I love Hugh Grant.
His scandals and stuff, but like, I feel like I've seen him on whenever he's on Graham Norton.
Oh,
there's
he's
just
so
something
good.
really enjoyable about his, like, he just doesn't really care, but it's also in a way that's like, I don't know, there's something really charismatic about him, isn't there?
Yeah, I can completely see how he got a Liz Hurley, and how, like, because he's very charismatic, and also he was in a documentary about the whole. Do you remember that thing? When they sued the Sun over hacking and stuff like that, and things like that.
The hack phone scandal,
and all of this rubbish. And he's come out as very, like, much. He's almost a part of a group of sort of people who are very definitely, they're kind of like, we're going to just go to the end and we're going to make sure someone gets sued, and this is all, this is horrible what they're doing. I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen. And he's got quite, like, he's got quite a lot of integrity in it, so after that I'm like, oh, he's
I
do.
It's strange, isn't it? I know what you mean. Like, there's I agree. So no, that's
good. I think he should be in more stuff.
Well, I was just so that sold it to me, and also the thing I most recently watched Nicole Kidman in was Big Little Lies, and she was brilliant in that. She's a good actress, isn't she? So it's like, I don't know what I'm like saying, but no, it's interesting, isn't it? These, like, big, it's TV series are now the thing, aren't they?
Yeah, to get a big, well, like, even, like, I think it's a big deal that Gillian Anderson is doing Margaret Thatcher in The Crown and that.
Oh,
like,
my gosh, of course she is.
Yeah, they're getting quite big people.
Is she good at that? I've seen clips of that. She seems to do a good job of that.
I think she's good. I can't tell. At first I found it a bit jokey, but I think Margaret Thatcher did just have the most irritating voice.
The Margaret Thatcher thing is like, so Meryl Streep obviously was played Margaret Thatcher, didn't she?
I never saw that.
I've not actually seen it. I've like this more just seeing like clips of it. But she's almost like she is a character. Like, it's so. For instance, no, obviously this is more of a, like, because it's a parody or whatever. But Snatch Game of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, Bag of Chips does Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, I've seen that.
And it's like there's something, like, she's so. There's like,
she's a really odd woman.
Really odd woman.
Yeah.
To understate it. But yeah. No, TV. I think there's something quite enjoyable about seeing these, like, really big names. Like, Big Little Lies was, all of them were like.
It's a good cast, isn't it? I've never seen it, but I think I want to give it a go.
Well, it's on. I think it's on Now TV because that's why I took your Now TV in the first place. So because the problem is, though, so they've done 2 series of it. don't know when they can do a series 3 because they're all too famous to get their schedules in. And Meryl Streep's in series 2 of Big Little
Really?
Lies. Yes.
That's good, man.
Like, how good is that? She's amazing in that,
brilliant,
actually.
Yeah. I'll have to put that on my list. Have you been?
yeah.
So have you been watching anything?
To be honest, no. The only thing I thought to talk about because it made me laugh. So I've been watching bits of I'm a Celebrity because I do like it.
Oh, has it started?
Yeah, it started last week. Although I say, like, normally I am like a religious viewer. I really, really enjoy I'm a Celebrity. Like, it's
I used to quite like it.
I just find it very like. No, I've just always enjoyed it. Why am I trying to defend myself? Anyway, but this year it's in Wales, not in Australia because of travelling constrictions. Restrictions. I'm tired.
Constraints and restrictions.
Constraint. That's right. Yeah. So and it's not the same. Like they do. I feel like so they're in a castle. I forgot what the castle's called. But they've got like, and I think as well because it's summer in Australia at the moment, isn't it? So I think they have to be like more careful to make sure that they don't like freeze.
Yeah,
because they have to do all these things. I think they have like, so they're undercover. They're actually in this castle. They've got a separate like sleeping quarters and like living quarters and stuff, and like it's just I personally am finding it less enjoyable to watch. So I've just been like watching the odd clip of it. I watched a clip this morning of Mo Farah doing a the long distance like runner, the Olympian. Doing sorry if that was like really patronising.
That's all right.
You obviously know who Mo Farah is. Doing a Bush Tucker trial, and I thought he'd be really like, let's just do it, but he's like,
yeah. I would have thought he'd be. Oh, sorry.
And there's a bit because he's quite like a slight man. And there's a bit so they dump some like stuff on him while he's like putting his hand in these boxes, and the way he falls, like I had to watch it so many times. I like just didn't understand. He sort of like felt like it was like he was two-dimensional. He just like felt like was so weird. And Ant and Dec obviously cracked me up. Like it's good. Ant and Dec are amazing. Well, because this is what I was going to say. The thing that like I was so with Kai and stuff, and like I was watching. I think he was just like playing on his PlayStation or whatever, and I was watching I'm a Celebrity clips, and I came across Ant and Dec did a Bush Tucker trial and eating one, like just as a like, I think it's very entertaining, and I was literally, I was laughing out loud quite literally, like it was.
Oh, was this the fisheye one?
What where Ant has fish? Yeah. And
I
just
saw
the
that
way
on
they
Gogglebox.
so funny. The way they were all, just the way they were reacting to it, and Dec just goes, "No, I can't do it." Like there's a bit. So he used to like drink these like watered. So it's like liquidized cockroach or something. And he drinks.
I hate the drinks.
And he goes, "Ooh," and he spits something back to come. And he just goes, "Sorry about that." And then I think, is it Joel Dommett doing? He goes, "That was a bit of a surprise," and Dec goes, "It wasn't for me." Like it was anyway. I'm undertaking. They are very funny.
I did see something pop up on my alert saying that some woman on there has got shit because she said she was a vegan, but she ate butter on it or something.
Oh, thingy from Coronation Street. Do you remember Liz?
Oh, was it her? Yeah.
Beverly something.
Beverly.
But Liz McDonald. Oh yeah, because she says she's vegan, and yeah.
But then if you're there, like, surely...
I think you've got it as well, like, just leave her alone.
But how did she eat the butter? How did she eat the butter?
Oh, I didn't actually see that. I just saw that she was doing, because during the eating trial they gave her fermented tofu. This is the thing, that eating things is, I think, are easier.
I can imagine them being... Also, like, if you said they have to keep out for, like, their warmth and they're, like, they have the... Like, it sounds almost just like a nice... bit of like fancy camping, like do they have heaters and stuff there?
They'll have something, I reckon. Like I don't, because I think in Australia, because they know they've got that you're probably more like the temperature just will be higher and there's heat and stuff. I think it's fine. I was watching another thing this morning where they were getting all their like not care packages. They were getting their like luxury item, and people like have pictures of their kids and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, I know I'm not a parent, but I'm like, you've been there a week.
Maybe they're sad because no one's watching them, and they've had to go away. And I can't see it hitting the same just because of.
There's always as well, because they've got the restriction as well this time of. So I think typically what they like to do is get an American, like a bigger name sort of American person.
Oh, like,
so like
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, yeah. And because they can't have that, because obviously because of the constrictions.
Oh yes.
Restrictions, travel restrictions. Yeah, so you don't have that. I'm trying to think what else in it. Vernon
Who's
Kay.
the biggest? Oh yeah, I've heard that people have said that he's like name dropping like a motherfucker.
Oh really? I've to be honest, I've not watched enough of it. Shane Ritchie's in it. He's doing my head in because he's obviously a massive show off, and as I am also a show off. So but there was just a bit where he was like, oh, let me get in this hammock, and it was almost like people had walked on, so you could see him sort of looking to be get their attention, and he got in it and fell out, and I'm like, you knew you were gonna fall out. There was a way to get into the hammock, and I was just like, you're just a show off. Who else is in it? Oh, AJ Pritchard, who's a Strictly Come Dancing professional dancer.
Yeah.
People laughed as well. So there's a Paralympian in there called, I've forgotten her name, but she's I think she's MBE. And so they were at the first episode. They were like on so they were split in half. So there were 10 celebrities and 5 on each team. And they're talking to each other on walkie-talkies, and they were figuring out who else is coming into the camp stuff. And she went, Holly Arnold, MBE, into the walkie-talkie. But in her defence, because I don't think I didn't know who she was, and she probably as well. She's got an MBE.
I don't think I know who she is.
She probably wants to shout about it.
Should we end the tired mess that is this week's episode?
Yeah, but I think we did all right.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know about you, but lockdown has hit me quite hard this last week, and I just feel.
And me.
I feel constantly confused and tired.
Yeah, I feel it's disorient. I feel a bit like that. But we've got a week and a half left until the
fingers crossed.
And then we'll just see what happens from there. But good news about vaccine and stuff. So.
Yes,
we shall see.
On the good news, yeah.
So on that note,
yeah, I'll see you next time, Twinny.
All right, see you next time.
Hopefully for some The Crown.
The Crown. Also, can I give a shout out? I was watching a clip of one of the shorts you've put on YouTube. Your impression of Samantha Jones is brilliant.
Thank you.
I was watching. I was like, it's so good. You have her
She's my icon. She's my queen.
It's very good.
Samantha Jones is the best.
So just wanted to give Dottie a shout out for that.
Oh, that's very nice, Twin.
Yo.